And the solution we're trying to provide is, I'm trying to enable 88% of the world's employees who are fitness professionals stuck having to do it one way to be their own boss overnight.
Yeah.
The whole concept was, what do I need to provide from a physical, technological, and operational standpoint to remove all the nonsense, all the middlemen, all the inefficiencies that take the nickels and dimes and quarters out of every dollar that they're generating, and empower them with that infrastructure, then step back and let them be their own boss.
100%.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah, love it. All right,
Cool.
So we just like to keep about a fist length away with the mic. You can stand, sit. This you can move at your leisure, so whatever's comfortable for you.
If you guys aren't, I like to stand.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. Yeah.
I'll probably sit eventually. But
Yeah, whatever you want to do. It's about you today, Steve. So Steve, thanks for joining us. We just like to kick things off. How did we get here, man? I know I met you because of Tim's pickleball passion, and he's going to try to go pro, actually, which I recently found out.
Let's go. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so I'm going to do nutrition coaching for the pickleball space.
I love it.
And
Got our next tournament this weekend in Cincinnati.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Good luck.
Thanks.
And so, that's when I met you. You stopped me. I had Drew Champlin's jiu-jitsu shirt on. You know him, and that's how we kind of started talking about your business. So take us through the weeds. How did we get here? Inception of the business, a little before that, and we'll weave in and out.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
Of course.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So really, FlexWerk was a concept that was 7 years in the making, but really it's a culmination of my entire 22-year career of being in the fitness industry. I started as a trainer in 2000. I had no idea that was a job that I could earn, I thought at the time, a ton of money to simply do what I was already doing, which is work out and just talk to people.
Yeah.
I got tapped on the shoulder. I was in good shape. I was a wrestler. I'd gotten injured, so I wasn't continuing on to wrestle in college. And I was just a gym rat, like other people there. And so the GM tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, I'll pay to work out with these people." I had no idea what that meant. A day later, I'm a certified personal trainer, right? And off I'm running. Where I think the thing started for me was within 30 days, I had 32 clients. I was full.
Wow.
Well, I didn't know any different at the time. I was just a dumb kid, 19, whatever. And I didn't know that was abnormal. I just saw my comp plan.
Yeah.
And I had a ton of caffeine, like always. And I said, if I can just fill myself up, you're going to pay me X, let's go. And I just started figuring out little ways. It was mostly just being assertive and talking to certain people. But that was, within 35 to 40 days, I started looking around and seeing people who are way more educated, D1 programming and bigger muscles, right? And time on 5 years in the industry or more, sitting around with their arms folded against the wall going, how come I don't have these clients? How come not me? And I just never really worried about that. I just kept driving. And then 6 months later, I got another tap on another shoulder with another guy with a jacket on saying, "Hey, can you duplicate this?" And I said, "Well, I think so." He goes, "Great. Next day I'm a fitness manager," right? So, no training and nothing else.
Yeah.
And this was in Sacramento, California. I'm born and raised Cali guy. And it was a great market. I went to club number 3. So super old club, right next to Sac State. So we're competing as a brand new gym and all these other things. And this was, again, 2000, 2001. And again, I saw my comp plan. And I thought, oh, okay, well, trainers, they're clients. I'm going to talk to them the same way. I'm going to find out individual needs. I'm going to go through the same processes, the PAR Qs. And I'm just going to make sure that I understand what their needs are. Are they motivated? Right? They want to help people? Are they passionate? Whatever it is. And my job was, I get paid if I put more people in front of them more frequently to get results. So I did it. Again, caffeine, whatever it was, it's kind of a constant theme in fitness. And then I earned the title of Fitness Manager of the Year for the country my first year in, which is a year-long sales process. So it's a 12-month against 500 and some odd other clubs in the country. And here's this little club, and we nailed it. Yeah. I got to open another club because of that, got to a bigger club, won it again the next year. So I thought, okay, there's something here. And from there, my career was really more of a Ronin. My wife and I have been married 16 years. This is our 11th move. So, yeah. And most people go, what? But I was always of the mindset that if I had the ability I like to run, I like to create, I like to build teams, set innovation, light it on fire, replace myself with leaders, and then stand back and go, cool, what's next? I've never really liked to be in one place for 3 or 4 years and have barbecues and the teams, and I'm just not that guy.
Yeah.
And so I'd either get bored or I'd accomplish a task, and the competition would come in and go, we got something for you, bigger, shinier, better, more. Wifey, you want to go? Let's go.
Yeah.
And so that's just, didn't plan it that way. That's just kind of how it worked out. And over the course of my career, I started observing similar challenges and issues and problems in the industry that were repetitive. At first it was California or Sacramento, and then it was statewide, and then it was regionally, and then, the last job I held, I ran the country for UFC Gym. I was the national director of franchise operations and technology. So I had BJ Penn in Hawaii, I had A-Rod in Miami, and everything north and down below. And come to find out, same problems, just more money and different people. And it was a conversation that I had with my wife where she said, you keep complaining about the same stuff. Do you notice that? Great wife, right? Hey,
appreciate it.
You keep talking about the same stuff no matter where you go. And I was like, yeah, I do, don't I? She goes, get back in your notes. And I was just a religious, note taker, and I have something called my manifestos, and I've got probably like 15 of these, like front to back, and it was just detail. Yeah. And I started seeing these patterns, and the patterns were about 7 things. And I thought, wow, these fitness professionals have short career spans. The challenges that they face are usually the same. The operators, the fitness professionals, and the clients all want the same thing. It's like being a marriage counselor. They all want to get together. They want result. They want to have proximity to each other, but they all kind of fight each other in these weird, like, old, inefficient processes. So I thought maybe we can figure something out. And of course, internally, I had access to some of the best peers and resources, and I would implement it everywhere I'd go, like a little thing here, a little thing there. So I was A/B testing. I didn't know at the time, but then I started getting more and more bold as I had more of a platform. But then I finally started running into the classic challenge of innovation is not rewarded in the fitness industry. We're running the same processes of leads, appointments, shows, enrollments, referrals, EFT. I work for Mark Mastroff, the godfather of fitness. He was the inception of 24-hour fitness.
Yeah, he's the guy.
Nothing's ever changed since 1983. Everyone says it's different because your lights are orange or blue or you're running this class or that, but no. It's a funneling system with leads, and you have to have specialized people that have to go through a process, and you got to have them show up at the right time, get them from that right coach that happens to be, on point or right. And it's this chain, and if the chain's broken at all, the experience is terrible. And then you got to trap them into some sort of like membership, which is like indentured servitude, and all in between, there's all these people taking quarters and nickels and dimes from every dollar. And at the end of it, the experience generally isn't great for the consumer, the client, or the employee, the coach. Yep. And in every brand that I ever went, anywhere I ever won, the key to my success is I surrounded myself with great fitness professionals. I tried to understand them at an individual level, and then just keep it simple. You're exchanging your time and your talent for money.
Yeah.
And if you want to help people, that's great, because about 80% of all the fitness professionals, trainers by the way, fitness professionals is a term I use to kind of elevate the language of trainers and coaches.
Okay.
Trainers and coaches kind of have a negative connotation, right? The guy who's telling you you're fat and and
sometimes you need a little boot in ass.
Yeah, and trainers and coaches also have a negative. Not all of them look at themselves as a professional, a chiropractor, or a doctor, or a bricklayer. They're professionals, and so they think, oh, this has to be transitory. It has to be part-time. I can only do it if I. No, so we're trying to elevate. So when I say fitness professionals, that's what I mean. Some people are like, what? But it's really about making sure that they have a viable opportunity to win. But it was always the fit pros. You went into one of my clubs or another competitor's clubs, and it was sexy and cool and fun and vibrant. It was great culture because of the trainers or the fit pros. It wasn't the general manager or the front desk person. Okay, they're saying hi and goodbye. Hopefully that's a win, and that's important.
Dime a dozen.
Right. Or you went into the club that just sucked your soul, and oh my God, this place is terrible. And then you start noticing how dirty it is. Again, it was the lack of passion for the fit pros. So to me, it was the sauce. That was the engine.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I monetize that? How do I encourage that? How do I grow that? So hopefully that wasn't too long of an answer.
No, not at all. Why do you think nothing has changed in decades? Is it because it works good enough? I mean, majority of trainers are in big box gyms, right? Like the LA Fitness, there's one I used to go to around here. No trainer cared about that club. It was a mess. Is it the same just because it gets the bills paid, pays people enough money? It's just it works, and no one's ballsy enough to challenge the status quo. Why do you think it has not changed?
So I try not to speak in general terms and speak from my own experiences,
Sure.
which is a pretty good observation across multiple countries. And right, so I've got some things I can put out there. I wouldn't say things haven't changed. I would say that there's been an evolution, but from a core basic business model fundamentals, that hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to do a box, I've got to throw in equipment, I've got to call it something different, I've got to drive a ton of marketing, I have to hire specialized people, a general manager, a studio manager. Those people have to be sales oriented, leadership oriented, organizational oriented, right? They got to do all these things, and then I got to get a front desk person, maybe some trainers, maybe some specialized coaches. I mean, hey, try running a UFC gym. I got to find a boxing coach.
Right.
When I was consulting out here in Indianapolis, okay, you can find some jiu-jitsu guys in Miami and certainly in Orange County. It's where the Gracies all live. Indiana, right? That's how I came across Drew.
Yeah.
Right? We imported Drew in. We imported Mike. I was responsible for bringing Mike in from Orange County, California. He was a cop.
Okay. Oh,
right?
nice.
Mike, right? And then he came through and like, great, you need a coach because it just doesn't have the density here. You got to have boxing coaches, and then you got to have duck coaches, and all these specialized things. And then you got to make sure that the operations and salespeople can actually speak the same language as those people. That's usually the biggest disconnect.
Yeah.
Because most operators, owners, managers don't come from a fitness background in fitness. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
So they're afraid of talking to each other because I don't know the language. And coaches look at these guys, hey, you just care about sales. And so there's like this 8th grade dance. Like the guys are on this side and the girls on this side. But it's a dynamic. So back to your question, things have evolved, but they haven't changed. And what I experienced when I started getting to these levels of, I would say, authority and ability to be listened to, and when I was recruited at UFC, they brought me in as an outsider to win back the trust of the franchise brand. For 8 years, it was going a certain way, and there were problems and challenges, and they knew they needed an outside, fresh perspective to then also give them feedback. Well, I kind of bought that hook, line, and sinker going, okay, well, here's my feedback, and I thought everyone would be receptive. Wrong, right. And, I'm working with some of the best operators in the world, right? Yeah. At the time, the guy who's running operations, he was the current IRSA president. There's Adam, Sadlak, who was a president of 24. I mean, these are kind of my icons. I'm going, great, I'm at the table, let's go. And then I quickly discovered that, at least my experience was, there wasn't rewards for innovation. It was kind of like, we're next in line mentality. Once a king dies, we can step in. Just let's wait it out. Don't do anything different. We've made our money, or they've made their money, and we've built 1,000 of these locations. And that's not just brand, that's every brand. LA Fitness is a clone of 24-Hour Fitness. Yeah. Crunch is a clone of that. I opened up a UFC gym in Pennsylvania, one of the last locations I opened up in Exton or somewhere close to that. I went across the street because it wasn't open, it was in pre-sale, to go to the Crunch that just opened up. It was the exact same club, minus the boxing bags. Same manufacturer, same equipment. The paint schemes were different. That's because they're sister brands. I'm going, but this one's $17 and this one's $85.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, right?
Right.
So I found that innovation wasn't rewarded. There are operators out there who are doing things that are unique and pushing the envelope. So it's there, but in a general term. I think that's the emergence of boutique fitness, Orange Theory.
Yep.
Amazing, because it was something that was a little innovative and different. They took the best of community, classes, and culture, which I think are the kind of the keys to success, and they really got community and they got classes going. And there's some that really, really drive home culture. That was a phenomenon with CrossFit. They really got culture and classes, right?
Yep.
And so I think it's easier, in any industry, to follow the lead dog.
Yep.
I think it's easier to say, I'm next, and that's safer, or who am I to challenge the status quo? I think that's normal to go through those. I certainly did. Most people thought, what are you thinking? You're making great money, you live in arguably one of the best places in the country to live, Orange County, California, right? You're doing your thing. Why would you risk it all to decouple from that and try something that's really going to poke the industry in the eyeball?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to do just that. That's why.
I think so.
Why not?
That's right.
Yeah.
There was something inside me that said, if it's been put into my heart and in my head, then I have to see it through. I feel obligated.
Yeah.
I don't go too far into that, but there's just a deep core belief that if something's put into your heart and your head and you just can't release it, you can't get it out. I mean, I was consumed. I had a 14, 15-hour day job. I ran 119 locations, and it was literally me. I mean, I had staff, but I didn't have a big team. It's crazy. Going all over the country, loved it, but then I was like, hey, I got to keep thinking about this. And so I'd be up another 3 or 4, kiss the kids, what's up with the wife, and I was just consumed by it. Yeah. So I thought, there's got to be something here. I have to see it through. And I'm grateful that I was married to the one woman I think in this world was like, let's roll.
Yeah.
Because without that, no way.
Right.
Safety, security.
Yeah, you had it.
Did I? Because guess what? I capitalized my company on March 16th of 2020. California shut down on March 27th of 2020.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea who did, right? So there's factors at work that went way beyond and above me that have been amazing. I mean, there's already been, and we've only been out for 3 months, there's already been at least 7 stops where I was like, this is done. Damn. Dead on arrival.
Really?
Absolutely. I mean, 40% cost increase in my construction in 2021 because of all the other things.
Oh, yeah.
That was hundreds of thousands of dollars more.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Right? I'm not coming with $1 billion bank behind me.
Right.
And that was just one of the challenges. But yeah, it's been the key though for me is getting through and understanding, and I have a single investor, but my wife and the small group that I've culminated, I think people are invested in me, and because I'm invested in them, and I think we really have a true mission, was to empower people, mostly fitness professionals, to become their own boss. It's a phenomenon that doesn't exist. Most have to be they're an employee of someone else just by the design of the industry. But we can provide them equipment, the tools, and the technology overnight that they can access for cost of an Uber ride or a slushie or whatever else. Right. Yeah. And they can truly then be their own boss. So there's a strong why and a very strong what. That's all I've spent my time focusing on. Why and what, why and what, why and what. And I pushed out the fear of the how, because that's what messes with your brain. It's like, how am I going to raise over $1 million? How am I going to challenge this industry? How am I going to create? How am I going to learn about this? And how am I going to?
You'll figure it out.
Absolutely right. And then people will attract, and I don't know how else to explain it, but it's been wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And walk us through that how. Now that it's in the retrospect, you had the idea in your brain. You knew what. Describe going from that to actually establishing the business.
Execution.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Right? Napkins are cute. Yep. Right? It's like me walking around with my PowerPoint, pitching to. That looks good.
Right.
So the how is really the key, and I think it starts though with, and I know what you mean, but it wasn't in my brain. I've always written it down.
Yeah.
I'd wake up after a dream, or I'd jump out of the shower, or I'd be at work, whatever. I've always written it down, because I don't think I have it on me. No, but I have one from 2016, and it's literally second page, and I'm describing within 90% of the FlexWerk you're walking into right now.
That's awesome.
The technology didn't exist at the time, but the experience and the vision, the feeling that we wanted to give the consumer and the Fit Pro, the enablement, it was already there.
Yeah.
The color tones, right?
Extra stuff.
Everything has purpose. Not to say that it's all master controlled and everything was right, but everything has purpose. So it came down to, I think if you have a vision or something is important to you, and this is what I tell my kids all the time, write it down. If it's important, write it down.
Yeah.
Also, it's how I retain things. I read books and I'll literally write the books, and I have a pretty strong memory when it comes to that. I wouldn't say it's didactic, but so if I want to retain something, I physically go through that process.
Yeah.
But I think it all started with me basically having the courage to say I'm going to do it. I think that you have to decide.
Yeah. You
have to decide. I'm going to do this. Not, let's see how it goes.
Right.
Now let's ask for money and see what people want to try it out. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lift this. I'm going to do jiu-jitsu. I'm going to ask this woman to marry me. It was a defining thing where I said, I'm going to decide. This is what I'm going to do. I still don't have a clear picture on how, but that's okay. Also, it helped me as I went through the ranks. I thought everyone was so much smarter than me. I thought everyone was like, right? And I just saw that people were just people.
Yeah.
They had their fallibilities like anyone else. It was like realizing your dad's just a dad, as great as he is, or not, but he's not a superhuman, right? I think we all go through that as a kid, and I know I did. My son, my dad was a Force Recon Marine, and so growing up, it's like, right?
Yeah.
And I go, wait, he's a man. He's a great man, but he's just a man. I learned very quickly when I was standing at the same table with these great people who had done these great things. It's like, wait, they get lazy sometimes. They're tired sometimes.
Yeah.
They don't push this and they don't push. I went, what made them as successful as, and most made a decision. They just committed to start doing something. Mark Masteroff bought a gym in 1983, got a loan from his grandma, and then bought another one, and then another one, another one. And they hired the right people, and the story, it
now
goes.
he's Mark Masteroff.
Fantastic, right? A lot of hard work and a lot of smart people and a lot of trials and tribulations, but truly, I give credit. I worked for him 2 times in my life. Truly an innovator. But why not me?
Exactly.
And I think you have to have that courage and understanding. It's not arrogance. It's just, I think I've read enough, known enough, seen enough to say the most successful people were the ones that dared to do something about it.
Yep.
Win, lose, or fail.
And it's, what if it does work?
Mm-hmm.
We can all go, I don't have the money. I'm not going to raise $1 million. Who's going to give me $1 million for? What if they do?
Yeah. Well, it's like a personal training sale. I mean, to me, that started at 19. One of the tools, I would say, or systems that I found very quickly, most fit pros, when I was talking to them, trainers, coaches, right? I'm trying to win sales contests. Well, guess what? They weren't very good at sales because NASM, ISSA, kinesiology, no, they didn't teach that aspect. They're teaching, joint manipulation and body movements. They're not teaching assertive communication. They're not teaching scheduling. They're not teaching overcoming, not necessarily objections, but setting themselves up for success. They're teaching programming, and I went, ooh, those are pretty important skills for someone to be a professional.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, well, I'll dare to do something different. And I just took some of the basic formats and things and systems that I saw, and I dumbed it down. No offense, trainers, big pictures, little words.
Yeah.
Got to keep it simple,
right?
Mm-hmm. And I made it so within 7 role plays, you could sound basically like an expert, anyone.
Yeah.
And I called it the Prezo. And the Prezo, still this day, is something I do consultations with and training on, and I've implemented into my systems and taught my team, who have no fitness background whatsoever. It's just a PAR-Q.
Yeah.
7 questions. Who are you? Builds trust and authenticity. It gets all the terminology that you don't want to hear. You don't need to try to be something that you're not. I think that's a key too. Authenticity and transparency are really key to our brand and to me. Our biggest challenge, people, when they come into FlexWerk or they hear about it, they go, is this for real? What's the catch? Those are the first 2 things that people say.
Yeah.
But then we show them, not tell them, you were there.
Yeah, I've been there.
And you go, huh. And then the third question is, how does he make his money? Because I feel like this is, right? I'm getting away with something.
Right, yeah.
Trust me, we're making, it's. We'll talk about the model. But when it comes back down to the how, it's making a decision, committing to it, really committing to it and saying, I committed to it emotionally, where for me, job was just over broke. Even though I made just $200,000, but how are you living check to check, making great money in Orange County? Just, you no matter how much you make, depends on where you live, it just doesn't really. Right. And I thought, wow, this can be taken away at any time. Company can close down. Didn't even know COVID. This is my thought before this. Company can close down. The owner can go on a gambling binge and go bankrupt. Things can happen out of my control that I can give my time and effort and energy to this company and build and build and build, and it could all be taken away like that. So I never thought of a job as safety. I piss off a peer that was jealous or didn't want to work as hard as me, or I was just a jerk, whatever.
Right.
Those things can be gone in a moment. So when people say, oh, it's safe, really?
Yeah.
So I had a really strong association with that. And I wanted to make sure that I could either do it my way or have a legacy that I built, because I had built other people's companies. It's like, let's build it myself. So the decision was, let's start. Then you got to ask. Right? You got to ask, do you want to buy 24 sessions of training? Do you want to invest in me in this crazy idea? I had one investor, we still do, equity investor, amazing partner. He is a master franchisor for Japan, UFC gyms and Golds. An American, but he's been there for like 30 plus years. Amazing guy named Harry Hill. And I helped him build his first 3 locations remotely during COVID. Even though he knew me. Because I also ran the Management Institute. So if you were a franchisor at UFC and you bought a franchise or a country, you would come to Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, for a week, and we would all do the Management Institute. Well, I was your MC. I was the operator. I was the one you wanted to talk to that could tell you, here's how you're going to make money. Here's what to do. I'd bring in Razor Rob, the MMA, right, WC champion. He punch him and kick him, and everyone laugh. And then marketing would come in, and right. So we had, of course, a team, but I was the one who was really driving that Management Institute for the most part. So I developed great relationships. And so the international guys would go home. They go, wait, there's 2 challenges. 1, marketing, and then 2, CRM. What you do here doesn't work here. Mm-hmm. That's one of the challenges with CRM is most of the systems here, the legacy systems, only work for the U.S., which is the #1 market in the world, because they're like, why not? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, can you help us? And I asked Mark, I said, I'll do my day job. Can I consult? I'll help. He goes, wait, you're going to help build the brand. I don't have to pay you? I said, yeah. He goes, go for it.
Yeah.
And it was fun because all the constraints were off. I started to work on design. I helped build an amazing location in Israel, and that's where I met my first my equipment manufacturer, Unix, who builds gyms on yachts in the Middle East, and they're out of Rome, Italy. We had to build an outdoor facility, and this was 2018, right off the Med, so it's like 7 months of desert and 5 months of monsoon, so let's put metal out there. Yeah. No. And for a jiu-jitsu guy, so this guy was David, he was a big jiu-jitsu guy, we had a 3,000 square foot rooftop. So I put a sail out there, and he's like, man, it'd be great to do yoga and jiu-jitsu out here. I said, great. Well, that's what the experience we want. Let's backtrack it and figure it out. And so what we did is I had this company build these big boxes. Pull the pins, they drop down, you roll out the jiu-jitsu mats.
Oh, wow.
And you're at a rooftop looking at the Mediterranean right there, rolling back out, boom, weather sealed, nothing gets in, no dirt, no grime, no.
Yeah.
Boom, right? So I was like, that was fun. Without the constraints, I could take technology, I could take a little design innovation, and I could help create new experiences for the guests and consumers that normally would be constrained because of certain mindset.
Sure.
And so that was the genesis of working with that group, because no other group would do it. Right? I went with 5 or 7 of the larger companies. One, I realized they were all in the same manufacturing line in Shenzhen, China, so they were all basically building the same stuff. Mm-hmm. And 2, they're like, we can't build we got to have racks this big, not this big, or that box is not really in our design specs. Everything we don't do our own design, we don't do our own builds.
Yeah.
This company we will. So I think the third thing is I had to surround myself with people who are willing and capable. I've always done that. I've always demanded, whether it was a trainer, a front desk person, a salesperson, a general manager, a district manager, a regional, people I surround myself with, I needed 2 things from you. You have to be willing, and you got to be capable. And then I'll take you from good to great. My job is to take you from good to great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not here to get you day 1, go to LA Fitness or wherever else to start your career, and that's cool. But your mindset, if you're willing, I got you. That's the wrestling background in me, right? Yeah. If you know anything about wrestling or in jiu-jitsu, you can't fake it. You either put time on the mat,
right,
whether you're coaching or you're wrestling or doing jiu-jitsu, mm-hmm. because at some point you have to be prepared for one-on-one combat. And you're going to be exposed. It's clear. Did you do time on the mat or not?
Quickly and humbly, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are lessons I learned in my life, and I'm always looking to surround myself with wrestlers because of the mindset and the ability to overcome adversity and really the 110% drive all day long, which is kind of something I do as well.
Yeah. You're definitely not low energy.
No.
You made a lot of great points, but when you talked about you just kept thinking about it, and it kept nagging at you. And I've talked to friends and family where maybe they're just switching jobs, and they feel bad. These people are going to have to do my workload. Someone else has to train. Are you going to keep thinking about it if you pass? Yeah, probably. Go. It's time to go. If it's that deeply rooted where it does not leave you alone, you have to try it. And that's what I love that you did. It was there. All right, I'm going to do it. No one else is doing this. Every other company was making the same equipment. You needed someone who would poke fitness in the eye like you were trying to do.
Yeah.
And you found the company to do it.
I really had to do.
And they're great machines, by the way, too.
I appreciate that.
It's fantastic equipment.
So what I found is I actually had to, the key, I think, to the success and what we're going to do is I literally stood in my garage in Orange County, and I mapped out what space do I need to create in a 360-degree model, top, bottom, side, side, to wrap around a true solution for success for a fitness professional to run their own business. It was like the mindset.
Yeah.
And then from there, everything has been reverse engineered. Everything. To sockets. I mean, I have specific uses. I have a wall of equipment, I have a wall for technology, and I have a wall for vanity.
Yeah.
And a wall for access. It's designed that way.
Yeah.
And the vanity, the mirror, doesn't face the TV because I don't want the reflections and the light. The equipment has a special paint, which is anti-reflective. My ceiling is the same as the Apple Store. It's for studio quality, so you don't have to bring in the O-rings. My floor is the first of its kind by E-Core. It's a lifting platform.
Yeah.
You would never know it. I had to build a serious place to train.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people have access to $10 and $15 gyms that have great equipment.
Right.
Planet Fitness has great equipment. Right? Anytime Fitness, for the most part, has pretty good equipment. Mm-hmm. So why would I stop sneaking into there as a trainer or doing what I'm doing with the current solutions that I have? Because people are putting together those solutions currently to then transition into this, have some overhead. Why would I do that? So I had to make it 10x better and give those tools and that environment not only to the Fit Pro, but also to the guest and the client as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, if I had all my vendors in here, my technology vendors, my floor vendors, even my GCs, I would say, what's the number one thing we talk about at all of our meetings? Like, how do we enable Fit Pros to become the very best they can be, right? I mean, they would be like, we know, Steve, we know, right? Because if it didn't matter, I'd always put it out there and we would scrap it. Because it's easy when you're building and conceiving and trying, like the flashy thing, like, let's do this or let's do that. And you go, yeah, let's go. And you spend money and time and energy and effort going down this thing that really doesn't do anything to enable your core vision. And my core vision was Fit Pro enablement, amazing workouts, serious place to train, not gimmicks. Mm-hmm. So,
and the more they hear it, the more they're going to design and build for that.
It was a relentless demand. I'm not even going to shy away. It was a relentless demand. Cut that out. Doesn't matter. Absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah.
Also, even from just how someone turns when I'm training, and if I'm positioning sideways in approximation to make sure, do you have enough space? I mean, do you have enough clearance when we pulled it out? We went through all these considerations and measurements, and I think we've got it down pretty good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't flipping a coin. It was really going through it. Some things, though, are flipping coin. I have to be honest. When you're doing something innovative and you're out in front, there's some guesses you got to take. Right? And already being open 3 months, there's some things I'm like, oh, okay. Nothing that was like, oh my God, let's not do that. A total disaster.
Yeah.
More actually, I realized, oh, there's opportunity. I didn't realize. Revenue opportunity and operational opportunity, certainly design opportunity, little tweaks and little turns. We can go that if you want to get into that, but it's been fun taking it from the napkin or the notebook, and then it's one thing from a concept to an execution. Building was an execution. Fundraising was execution. I mean, 3 years ago, I didn't know anything about commercial real estate, right? And now I'm going through and advising leases and I know anything about having a C Corp and building a company with shares and running an international. Guess what? At some point, the other guys.
Yeah. All the stuff people never see.
But what I stayed focused on is the things I do know.
Right.
I know how to empower fitness professionals. I know that there's a solution that we can provide that can take someone from good to great. I mean, we have one trainer right now, Pat Charette. He owns EFS Indy, and we've highlighted him on our Instagram. We've brought him onto the Good Day Morning Show with Ryan and Jillian because they wanted to tell my story. I was like, don't worry about my story. Tell the customer story. He was the first guy. We opened April 1st. He was in, I think, April 3rd, right? Pat, if you're listening, maybe it was April 6th. Yeah. But he was like the first guy. He was like, it's just real, right? And you know, the whole arms crossed and the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we had one conversation, looked me down, and he goes, I'm in. Boom, early adopter, I'm in. He transitioned in, started with I think like 85 hours per month. So very high aptitude, certainly top earner in the area. Won't disclose exactly how much he was charging, whatnot, but like top 10, top 15% already in the area. Right now he's servicing about 148 hours a month, and he's charging 28% more than he was prior to.
Yeah.
He's now hiring trainers underneath him to build his business with FlexWerk.
Excellent.
So good to great in 3 months.
Yeah.
Totally transformational. And he's not going to Zionsville and this place and that place and wearing down his car and, you know, worrying about if he's going to have some liability issues because a husband gets, you know, jealous that he's training the wife in the basement or whatever weird situations we're all trying to figure out as fit pros out there. It just consolidated and made it more efficient and brought up the premium offering of his company. And we're highlighting them all day long. Because that's what FlexWerk's about. It's really a platform to elevate you.
Yeah. And you kind of got into some of the details about it, but walk the listeners and us through the FlexWerk facility. What all's in there? Like how many rooms, or like kind of just give the listeners a visual of what the gym looks like.
Sure. Easiest way, I mean, you can literally see it immediately and feel it. I think too, if you go to our Instagram at FlexWerk Fiitness, right? That's what we're really trying to do. We're not trying to be gimmicky and have people dancing and doing silly things, right? We're just trying to say.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, you guys have caught on. Like, I'm an intense person. This is something that this is a real business that I'm trying to build. We want to have some fun, but
it's a business.
It's a business, right?
Not a hobby, yeah.
Right, and I want these guys and girls to feel like we're going to take that into consideration. We want them to have longer than 9-week careers on average when it comes to being a trainer or a fitness professional. And then the clients of them or the guests that we have, I want them to feel that it's a private premium space that anyone can access. So it's not some bougie, like only if I'm rich kind of a spot, but I want to create a certain tone and culture. And I think we're doing a good job. We're definitely going to continue to improve. I mean, that's really what it's all about. But back to your question. So first off, it's 3,100 square feet, just a little bit less. And we have what we call 11 spaces. So FlexWerk, first and foremost, is much more of a co-working space, like a WeWork, for fitness professionals and guests, than it is a gym. So we have 4 what we call flex spaces that are approximately 200 square feet, which some people go, oh, that sounds big. Others go, oh, that is big. We're about 21 feet by 18 feet, right? Yeah. With the equipment and everything, it's large enough for 4 D1 size athletes very comfortably to be in there. Yeah. So we have 4 of those spaces. Each space has the same equipment, similar equipment as far as the plus spaces go. Same technology, environmental controls. Each has its own HVAC system, lighting. So it's a self-contained premium studio that, again, you can have amazing workouts. I mean, in our plus spaces, we give you lever arms. When's the last time you were able to access lever arms? D1 college.
I was so excited.
Right?
I was like, oh, we're doing these.
Let's go, right? I'm giving you almost 1,000 kilograms of high urethane bumper plates. I'm giving you 4 competition level barbells. I'm giving you dumbbells. I'm giving you kettlebells. I'm giving you med balls. I'm giving you, we built all of our equipment custom, but I'm giving you weight stacks with 1 less pulley, which means it's about 18% heavier than your typical. And I go from 5 to 125 by 5s. And then I have arms for band work, which can add another 220 pounds per stack. So what that means is you can be doing like reverse leg squats with a belt, and then you got the hooks. In your plus spaces, I can probably give you about 1,100 different custom workouts and exercises. And that's what I wanted you to do. So everything's very modular. I've got foot plates you pop on within seconds with little pin releases, so you can do all of your seated rows, your lat pull downs. If you can do it in a major facility, now will I have everything? No. I mean, donkey calf raises? No. But you can certainly pull that information down, or if you have that knowledge, you can duplicate that exercise. But that's, we'll go back into that in a minute. Mm-hmm. We're an and to company. I'll get back to that phrase. We also have 4 standard spaces, so flex space standards. Those are approximately 160 square feet, and they're 16 by 11, perfect for a single or a double occupant. Mm-hmm. Some trainers will bring in a client. A lot of times it's a single use. Dates come in, have a fun date, or 2 buddies or coworker, but it's the space that you'd want It's about the size of this, a little bit bigger. In fact, just a little bit bigger. And then I have 3 what I call FlexSpace Connects. So I have the only commercial licensing agreement with Hydro and Climber right now, which means I took their software subscriptions that Peloton and others couldn't do. I talked to probably 17 or 18 different connected hardware companies as I was going through this experience, and they're like, nah, everything we build is for a single subscription, right? You got to buy the equipment and then you got to have the subscription. Well, what I wanted to do is I wanted to buy the equipment, open up the API so you could come in for $5, reserve it, have access for 30 minutes to the same live classes and on-demand content that you would normally have if you bought the $4,000 Hydro rower and a $50 a month subscription. So we have that as well.
That's amazing.
And so what I did is I built smaller spaces that are about 9 by 9, 10 by 9. The technology's not in there, but you've got obviously your lighting, you've got your environmental controls, you've got your music. But really, I built the studio space around the experience for you to have that live coaching or on-demand coaching. Okay. In, out. And of course, I have a lobby and a hallway that's functional. So our hallway is approximately 8 feet wide. Handmade turf, not the kind of turf that you're usually scratching and itching yourself on with the plastic. It's actually hand woven in Denmark. It's amazing stuff, but it's functional. Every bit of it is, you're doing sled work, you can do rope work, and because our utilization is low, nobody gets into FlexWerk without digital keys. It's appointment only. And so that means right now, I mean, we're at 8.5% utilization. Basically think of how many hours per day we're open versus how many hours we're reserving spaces. So we've got room to grow. We're doubling every month over month, which is exciting. But got 48 to 60 people per day. So that means you can use it and people aren't in your way and right, nobody's hanging out. And of course I've got two high-end premium, toilets and bathrooms all tiled up, ready to go. Do your hair, get in, get out. And then I have one pretty nice all tiled up shower. Again, get in, get out. I didn't build locker rooms. I didn't build front desks. There's no reason for any of that because FlexWerk it's like ordering an Uber ride. But I say it's one less click, so we made it even easier. This is the space I want. This is the time I want to come. This is what I want to do. I pay for it in my phone. You get the digital key and the access on the day of. Done. You show up. My team knows who you are because we have of our data, we know when you're showing up, so now we can do really cool things. One, they can actually greet you with your name because they know exactly who you are. They can put you into the right space because they know exactly who you are. And so I'm using technology, operations, and design to literally move people through space at the right time to do the right things. So it's pretty fun. It's extremely easy to maintain and keep clean. Everything that we design, again, the tile in the bathroom is really nice and expensive, but it's also super easy to clean. Spray it all down, foam it down, everything's done, everything's wiped out.
Nice.
Right? So I wanted to build in those efficiencies that I saw were problematic and challenges. You usually had to throw labor at, you had to throw a bunch of people at that usually didn't get done anyways. That's it. So a lobby, a hallway, 4+ spaces, 4 standard spaces, and 3 connects.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And just to confirm, all of your customers are 100% of them fitness professionals?
We call them guests, by the way. Everyone's a guest at FlexWerk.
Well, I got the fitness professional term right. Are all of them fitness professionals who are bringing a client in, or do people just sometimes come in and use the space on their own, their own private workout?
The answer to your question is no. We've got a few mantras, but the hardest thing I think we're trying to tell in our messaging right now in our marketing is we're really speaking to 3 customers. We have 3 customers. Everyone's a guest. Fitness professionals, trainers, coaches, but now we can expand beyond just fitness. Now, I had a chiropractor come in today, a local chiropractor, who wants his clients, once they're done he wants them to do strength training in addition to. Well, one, he can send to us, or I suggested, why don't you hire someone, put your polo on them, and then bring them to FlexWerk, and now your business continues at FlexWerk. He was like, you sure? I was like, yes. Smart guy, too. He's like, let's go. Right? We'll see, but I think so. So fitness professionals. Downtown, by the way, so we're going to be opening up our second location, hopefully by January 1. We're in lease negotiation, but we're going to be on New York Street in Pennsylvania. And we'll talk about that. There's a term I can't legally use yet because the document hasn't been signed, but it won't be ours, which is great. But it'll be a 2-story location, same floor plan, same dimensions, same everything else, but there they'll have 2 spaces, 25 by 25, that will literally be open with a bar and a big window, and then New York Street's looking right across from the WIT.
Oh, wow.
And it'll be for yogis, exercise physiologists, stretchologists, dance teams. I say a fitness professional is anyone in the industry who's in wellness who exchanges their time and talent for consideration, i.e. money. That's a fitness professional.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't think of themselves as that because they're a trainer or a coach, but they're not. But if they're in the clinical settings, in the hospitals, they're working with clients pre-rehab, that's a fitness professional. Well, all these people get whispered in the ear, I wish I could work with you, Jane. I wish I could work with you, Bobby, or John, or right? I'd love to too, but I don't have the space, I don't have the gym, or I have to meet you at Planet Fitness and hope the manager doesn't see us, or right, whatever that is. Yep. We're now providing the spaces for fitness professionals to come and do their own thing. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. I think I just lost you on that in the last question.
No, I was just saying your idea, who you...
Oh, yeah. No, that's important. Yeah. So the Fit Pro is, let's be real, from a marketing standpoint, the Fit Pros are exponential. So one trainer, one Fit Pro covers about 9% of my operating costs.
Wow.
One.
Yeah.
So I find 9 of him, 11, cash flow. Right. I don't need to go 500 members. So now I can take my marketing, dollars, people, time, focus, and energy, and I can keep a very narrow laser and talk to that consumer and customer, and then provide services and support to expedite their decision-making process to just fill space. Because that's really, at the end of the day, what my business is. I fill space.
Yeah.
I provide you opportunity for equipment space, right? But I'm not really doing anything else. I'm not here to sell you a guru package and tell you my programming is better than your programming, that tastes great, less feeling like, I'm smarter than these guys and my muscles are this and that. No, we're here to be like an Airbnb for you. Mm-hmm. However you want to do it. As long as it's legal and safe, do whatever you want to do. And we can help you if you want it, or we'll just leave you alone. Mm-hmm. So there's a Fit Pro. We usually find a Fit Pro, and not all of them. There's a lot of Fit Pros that come to us and are like, I'm just getting started. Great, we'll meet you wherever you're at. Mm-hmm. And then there's a Fit Pro trainer. He would never be hired in the classical setting by a gym because he's a full-time police officer. But he was a really high-level football player, looks great, wants to have about 4 or 5 clients. I said, go at it. Yeah. We've helped him get a couple additional clients. He's training, I think, 3 or 4 clients with us, and that's all he wants to do. He would never be hired by a Lifetime or an LA Fitness just because he wasn't serious enough, or it wouldn't be worth the ROI because, right, you got to be there for the meetings and all the other things that go along with it. Mm-hmm. And then there's the clients of the fitness professionals. So there's 3 archetypes. The Fit Pros, who bring many, which we like. There is the client, and we have people coming in all the time now who are like, hey, do you have Fit Pros? Do you have trainers? Right? Not quite saying Fit Pros yet, but some do. Yeah. Do you have trainers? I go, well, I don't employ trainers, but we've attracted some of Indianapolis' very best because they're their own boss. People are like, that's what I'm talking about. And we connect them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, anyone could be a guest. So as long as you're over the age of 18, and we're actually working with some youth leagues right now. Right? We have some youth leagues right now, like Carmel Rugby women's team. What's up, everybody? Come the fall, they're like, wait a second, can we just reserve out 4 spaces, open up the doors? Sounds like we can throw like a workout of the day or our own thing on there, and then I can walk them back and forth and kind of monitor and put 4 curls in each one because we don't have access to the Carmel High School gym because of football or whatever else it is. Mm-hmm. And it's less than $100 and we don't have to go do a fundraiser to afford it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. Yeah. We already have a trainer who's doing that on the weekend. He's throwing he's reserving 4 spaces in the similar dynamic, and he's charging $25 per class. He's doing an amazing HIIT class. Yeah. And he's getting 18 people to show up on the Saturday at 1 o'clock. Yeah. Right? What up, Indie Mobile Fitness? And he's like, it's great. Yeah. And I love it because that's what I wanted. I wanted to build a tool and a platform for these trainers to just go wild. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for the day where someone comes up to me and goes, I have a new use that you didn't think of. And as long as, again, safe and legal, I'm like, cool, that's awesome. And that's what I really want. I want to foster the innovation and really cool use case of that. So those are my 3 customers.
Yeah.
And that's challenging to talk to each one because trainers, a lot of people go, do we belong? Can I come up too? We get a lot of that, and then we sway our marketing back to the guest, and it's but the trainers are really the core of driving the business viability.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of it, I could care less.
Yeah.
We want to fill space.
Yeah,
Right.
fill
We
space.
want to empower the trainers and whatnot. But hey, if this is the 80+ scene where everyone just wants to hang out and do some light workouts, and it's a safe place that they're still afraid of COVID, they think it's safe and clean and friendly, their money is just as good as a fit trainers or anyone else's.
Still green.
We do not care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're simultaneously bringing in the clients, but you're also being the connector between the client and the potential fitness professional who could train them at the same time.
So that's really our business.
Yeah. Okay.
And then is this place, I know we had till 2, are they tight on that?
No.
Or, okay, cool. Because we've been kicked out of places before. It's fine. We're used
No.
to getting kicked out.
No.
All right, sweet. Yeah, that's fantastic. We need to sit down again. I have thoughts.
Great.
Yeah. Because I would like to get in there more because, yeah, it has everything you need. There's not one thing I do not have when I was in your space.
Mm-hmm.
And you can throw weights too. That was one of my first questions I asked you, and you have the platform.
There additional space. I think there's one. It's not what you need, but I would say if there's an observation I made that we're implementing into the New York Street downtown location is we're providing basically a room like this where you can do presentations. I'll obviously do a lot of training, but you can reserve it. You can do work with clients one-on-one. I think meeting in the space that you're going to train your clients is optimal for. I've encouraged trainers that they put a little 4-slide deck on their phone, they throw it up there, and immediately people are like, oh my God, that's so cool. And they're doing their presentation using their phone on a 55-inch screen. Yeah. They're not sitting down and handing you a piece of paper saying 1 through 10, what are your fitness goals? Yeah. So already it's just a whole different experience. Yeah. But I think that's a cool space. But I'm glad to get that feedback.
Yeah. Now, are you thinking about at some point having space for more mixed martial arts? Is that going to come back in your scene?
Oh boy. Probably not.
Okay.
Liability is really the biggest challenge when it comes to striking. We've even had a couple of people come in that had no business. They had mitts and we have video and AI overlay over the entire environment, except for obviously the interior of the bathrooms and the showers. That would be weird and illegal. And which is great because someone even told me the other day, you're a technology company. I said, well, not really. But I understand behavior after point of sale, and there's no other fitness company that can claim that. Right? The single data point that you get at a gym like Lifetime or LA is what? The check-in. And even then, industry-wide, it's about 57% of the time they only get a check-in. But they're not going to be able to say, how long were you in there? What did you do? What did you not do? Did you hang out on turf? Did you use a certain piece of equipment? Did you hang out around these weird, this girl? What did you do?
Yeah.
So there's no behavior understandings. Well, that was one of the bigger realizations when I was at UFC, because I'm sitting around this table and I'm going, oh my God, they must have all this data. They've opened up over 1,000 gyms between all this experience, and they asked me to design a mid-tier brand called Core at the time. I was like, great, what's that gonna be? They're like, we don't know. Here's the name. Do whatever you want. Right? It was a longer conversation, but not much.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. And so I went through it and I thought, give me the data. None. They're still flipping coins. Because I say so, because my gut says so, because I have this experience, right? I'm going, no way.
Yeah.
I thought they all knew everything, right? And it blew me away, and I thought, wow, surely that could be valuable, not only for universities and people and medical, and because I did my research outside of the other industries where as you started to monetize data and collect it and aggregate it and then utilize all kinds of insights, and then you could sell it. And I thought, well, it's an $82 billion industry, access to gyms alone in the U.S. All right, personal training is a $14 billion in the U.S. alone industry. I think that data might be worth something. How do you capture it? And so that's another piece of it. Back to martial arts. I was observing some video. We get notifications of a few things. One, I'll call it violent activity, like striking and fires, flames, falls. We get these alerts, and so it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
AI driven, you said?
Yeah. But I don't have a team like sitting there on the screen going, oh, what's happening in there, right? It just pops up and gives you
Hey, that deadlift sucked, man.
Yeah, right. And then the security alert. Right. Sometimes I'm like, go home out. Let's go. Training time. That's great. But where were we on that?
Sorry, the cameras.
Yeah. No. Well, I need to continue on the piece that we missed.
Oh, martial arts.
Yeah, martial arts. So this guy was moving around, and then he started grabbing this girl and literally throwing her around. I'm like, time out, right? Yeah. So I come in, I'm like, listen, dude. Yeah. And he was wearing flip flops, and but yeah, I had seen enough
flip flops.
So the answer is, I had a great experience at UFC, but I also saw how weird and wild it can be.
Sure.
Razor Rob McCullough, WEC champion, amazing. What's up, Razor? Part of the Huntington Beach Bad Boys and all that. He and I would be the ones that got called if there were problems. Or then Mauricio Tinguina, right? He was obviously the lineage for jiu-jitsu, the inventor of the spider guy. So that was amazing, incredible people. Yeah. I would be the guy, the operational financial guy, and then they'd be the guy with the tats and be like, what's up? We got to make sure that you guys aren't doing... But we would see some crazy stuff. Ninjutsu classes and sword fights, and it's what are you... Smoker fights. They have smoker fights on... I'll never forget the smoker fight that they had on Wednesday nights. It was a women's smoker fight, right? And so if none of you know what that is, they're just a bunch of women just beating the crap out of each other on a Wednesday night, and everyone's got popcorn and cheering. But then they're calling me up going, why don't we get kids and women in this gym? It's so weird. It must be the brand name. I'm like, how about the event that you put on every week where two women beat the crap out of each other? Maybe that's not the environment, right. So I'm not everything to everyone. And I think that's the other thing when I came to what, I really focused on what. What are we going to deliver? What problem are we solving? Not what offers am I giving. I don't care, because almost everyone else is going to beat me on more equipment or cardio or right. But that's a battle that you're always going to lose, because there's always going to be a bigger, shinier box that's going to come across. They're building Crunch out here, and Crunch is an amazing brand. If you're 18 to 25, no. But they're spending $5-6 million on these brands. Cool. Have that brand. Then when you want a private premium experience, or you want to run your own business, you can use FlexWerk as an and two. Coming back to that, so. I'm a very abundance mindset kind of guy. Have that membership. A woman who started with us the other day in personal training, she goes, now don't talk me out. First thing she said, don't talk me out of Orange Theory. I love my Orange Theory. I've got an amazing coach twice a week. I said, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Of course. Let's make that a key component that we build onto, because you're here and you need more. But of course, double down on that. I'd love to talk to that coach, by the way, but stick with that, of course. And then this will be supplemental to your overall programming and success, like nutrition. But a lot of people have this, it's mine or it's theirs, or you versus me, or...
Yeah, everyone's in a camp in fitness. It's all camps.
Well, martial arts is, right?
You
get where I'm going, right?
It's I do this, so I can't do that. It's why not?
And our average consumer, and our average guest has 2 or 3 gym memberships already anyways, right? We are definitely catering to I would say more discerning socioeconomic. We moved from Orange County, California to here across the country. We knew no one. All of our families in California or Hawaii, specifically because I did a data analysis that said this was the market that had the best criteria for our success. It was 14 needs. But I was looking for the Goldilocks market, a market that could support us, that could adopt innovation, right? We couldn't move out to the sticks somewhere and be download our app. App, what you talking about? It's
internet.
Right. And we got the $10 gym. And it's okay, no. Yeah. But at the same time, the market wasn't mature enough from a competition standpoint that we could come in and take it from the junior varsity team. I guess is kind of what you want to say. Yeah. Okay. And so it was here in North Dallas. We flew in 2020 October, both spots. Terrible weather, both spots. Jess and I, my wife, we went home, talked about it. 30 days later, we moved.
Love it. So when you were doing that. And you don't have to throw exact names, but who did you see as closest competition when you were trying to do that? Because I know there are some other spots that try to have a flexible space for trainers.
Yeah.
But obviously you have the platform to raise them up more than anyone else. That is what separates you from everyone. But what kind of competition did you see? Who was your closest competitor?
Well, I've always seen, I was a trainer at 19, and I wouldn't say every trainer, but a good majority, their dream of dreams is I have my own gym, right? So it didn't say, hey, let's create a new concept. That's stupid. You want to go to a market need that's already established, not create the market need. And so I kept hearing that. But there was a company that started up in Canada in 2017 called Silo Fit. And they came on my radar probably in like 2020, when I was getting serious about fundraising and was saying, okay, I think I'm gonna, 19 had to be because I fundraised in 2020, but it was like, okay, let's just make a worldwide search and really just dig in to see if there's, and they were really the only ones that popped up. Fitness guys doing their thing. Their key though is they would basically find like Class C real estate in Montreal. I'm sure they had some clients that were in real estate and they're like, hey, we have some empty space, we'll give it to you real cheap. And then they would fill up a single space, not a community of multiple spaces. And essentially they put a pin code on there and then you could come in and for $30, $35 you had a little shower and a plant and some decent equipment. It was cool. Well, the legend was they had filled up like the first, I think, 3 of them. That's what I kept reading, and I was, kind of did my deep dive. I was like, that's great within their first 30 days. And then they raised like $16.5 million. And let's just say they didn't have the background to do that in fitness. No offense, right? It's just, and I was like, huh. And they're up in Canada, which is, let's just say, a smaller tier market. It's not like the beast here, and just different dynamics. And so I thought, if not them, let's go, right? Good for them, awesome. Right. And there's plenty of opportunity. But I thought, okay, but I tried to run the numbers, and I thought, if you're just doing one space, for me, the numbers didn't match. It didn't work out. I thought, and plus I wanted a community. I dove into the WeWork white paper. I always was just focused on, WeWork made sense from a community build, co-working space. It just connected with me. And then I knew that I also wanted to provide access to Fit Pros without having leases and rents and contracts, because I knew that the adoption would be super low if it was an obligation. And then the next closest model that I found was actually like salon suites. Okay. You ever heard of salon suites?
No.
So essentially hair and beauty, which is almost aligned with the same exact like client needs and operational needs of fitness. And so what happened, I'll say 15 years ago, maybe it was older, I don't know, but a little while ago, quite some time ago, hairstylists had a few options. 1, they had to be someone's employee. 2, they had to rent a chair in a salon next to a bunch of people that they may or may not like, right? Or 3, they had to go build their own salon. Well, building your own salon, like building your own gym, is almost completely prohibitive. Good luck. Raise the money, get the lease, figure out your equipment, and then run the business. Right. Most people just want to cut hair and work with their clients, like trainers. I just want to work with my clients. Right. I don't want to do marketing and pay the bills and build a lease and equipment and overhead and no way. Yeah. How am I going to do that? I just want to work with clients. But I don't want to be someone's employee anymore. Well, some real estate guys got together and said, what do you need? They're like, well, we need about 100 square feet. Not much. I need a chair. I need a sink, I need some storage, I need a sign, and I need some booking software. Done. So they threw one up, 8,000 square feet, and now it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And now you're going to see salon lofts and salon suites. So it's co-working for hair and beauty professionals, estheticians, and all of that. The challenge I found though when I ran the model is it's leases. So essentially they were paying about $1,600 a month on average to rent it. I thought, well, there are most trainers in this country would never even have that conversation. Right. They're like, I'm not there. I've got 2 clients or 3 clients or 7 clients, or I have no clients because I need to leave this job and I can't take these clients with me from that company. Whatever that it is, $1,600, no way.
Not nothing, yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought, okay, well, what's the business model that can empower a pay-as-you-go? And it just came back, and I was just digging and digging and digging and digging, and finally came back to Uber. And for me, it was like, I can see the experience, which I call the friction-free ecosystem, of being able to come in and remove the friction of fitness and create efficiencies. And how do I spot book a space and just access it without a bunch of people opening my doors or asking for this or selling me that or not, whatever it was. Yeah. And I started crafting it from there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I dug in. I had to dig in the model. I had to dig in the operations. Then it just all. There were a lot of pillars, to say the least. Sure. And each pillar I just kept digging and digging. And one day it was, sometimes it was financial, and then other times it was the technology, and other times it was the vendor, and then but it was always building the same foundation, which was enable fitness professionals to be their own boss and give people this unique experience.
Yeah.
And get out of the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. So since we're on the model, you referenced the model earlier of, well, how do you make money? How does FlexWerk make money?
Yeah.
Let's go a little more into that.
Yeah.
I mean, what you can.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Right. There's some.
We're not trying to give away the sauce.
Yeah. So, full disclosure, so we're already a franchisor, which is fantastic.
Okay.
So we've already we had our FDD, franchise disclosure document, disclosed and built last year. We actually just disclosed it for 2023. So we're already selling locations.
That's awesome.
Technically, we haven't sold any yet.
Yeah.
Right. But so we have.
You're willing and able.
We have commitment.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
We're building a second location, and we're not paying for it. Let's leave it at that.
All right.
How's that?
Not bad.
Cool. So that was a vision, though, from day one. This day one, no, that's not true. Let me give you a quick one, and then you got to remind me of that question because, again, I can deviate.
Yeah, no worries.
But I went through one of the biggest challenges, and I think learning lessons I had to go through was the fundraise, right? I was like, okay, cool. I'm a pretty optimistic guy, to say the least. Here comes my shitting grin. Father of Force Recon Marine, amazing parents. I've just always had this mindset, wrestling, of if I'm willing, I'm able.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And like all of us, I've gone through some pretty strong adversity, almost hit bottom. And when you go through something that almost takes everything away from you, and you can still survive and live and bounce back, you realize, okay, if I'm not dead, if I've got my family, I've got my arms and my legs, so what? I can do it again. I can keep going. So that's given me a lot of power and a lot of faith and a lot of like true self-confidence. I'm like, I can shoot that devil.
Yeah.
Right? I got him down once, I can do it again.
Yeah.
Same thread. It's, to me, that's real confidence, not that the bluster, the arrogance that you're trying to overcompensate for something. Mm-hmm. It's just knowing that I can't fall off this cliff because I've already been there.
Yeah.
Don't do it again.
Yeah. Right. Learn the lesson. Yeah.
Don't do it again. Careful contracts. No, but it was fundraising, and so when I pitched my investor, when I pitched him, he thought he was going to fund me to go build a international consultancy firm. Because essentially I consulted him through COVID and helped him open up 3 locations through Zoom. I never stepped foot in Japan.
Yeah.
And they were the only country, by circumstance, luck, serendipity, God, whatever you want to call it, that didn't close down during COVID by their constitution. The one country. So every night I'm working with him and his team and training him in language, and we took the CRM and we converted into kanji and Japanese. Like, it was crazy. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. But you know what? It was just fun. And when it's fun, you figure out a way, right? And then when it works, it's even more rewarding. And so he thought I was going to pitch him real quick, and he thought, because his partners at Golds, they have 136 locations. They're the largest Golds franchisor in the world, and they're amazing. They've been there for a long, long time, right? One of the OGs of Golds. He's like, man, they're running like Windows 7 out here, and you think technology out there is Japan, right? Everyone has a pet robot and rocket shoes, and no, man.
Really?
No. So one of the biggest needs requirements they had when I was consulting with them was, not only do we have to build, different CRM, and I had to find one that worked for international. It was, they wanted to use credit cards, and like the vast majority of the country uses something called, oh my gosh, it's like not EFT, but it's like JSP, or it's like Western Union to you and I.
Okay, got it.
You go into the gym. You go through all the processes. They say, great, you ready to join? Yes. Here's your receipt. Go down the street to the store, like a 7-Eleven to us or something like that. Pay that person. Hopefully the system talks. By the time you get back with your receipt, our systems are aligned, and now you've got your membership.
What how many sales lost from that?
Right? So he's like, could you put us on Visa and MasterCard? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that like a thing? He goes, no one else does it. I was like, what? We did it. And I was able to recruit a company that was like, we want to be the innovator. We want to do it first. Like, I kind of have a theme of gathering the right people on a singular vision to do something that's innovative and challenge them and give them access to a market they usually wouldn't have access to. And then I usually get the resources and the teams that I would never be able to afford. It's kind of like my sauce, right? Yeah. And it's amazing. And so this group called GlowFox. They were out of Ireland. They were up and comers at the time. Now they're a big behemoth that now work with ABC, and they right. So they're really doing. But at the time, they were hungry and scrappy and doing it, and so they got in there, and that was a big thing for them. The only fitness studios in all of Japan that ran credit cards.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? So that was for me going, okay, don't make false assumptions. Like, let's just work on the problem that's a problem. Because I was actually at the time working with facial recognition access controls. COVID was already a thing. I was working through video AI, and we could read faces even with masks on, and I was automating check-in. Like, I was going deep,
yeah.
right? I'm in my garage and doing all these videos, and at the end of it, I was like, wait a second, that's not what they need at all, right?
Credit cards.
Yeah, and we spent a lot of money, right? And it was like, it was cool, but it was like, wait, they just need credit cards. And that really didn't cost us much. It cost us time, but the company's willing to do it because they got access. So I learned that lesson, which is don't solve a problem that's not a problem. Solve the problem that is a problem, because ultimately in your business, I'm in business to earn money and build a company that solves real problems, and customers will validate that if you solve their problems. Right. But back to it, so when I pitched them, I was like, hey, we're not going to do a consultancy firm because that's still just going to be me and a few people. I have a business proposition. I'm going to build a global brand based on all these efficiencies that we've created that we would teach other people to do. Let's not teach people how to do it. Let's just do it. Mm-hmm. I was like, show me the model. I pitched it to him an hour and a half later. He's like, that's what we're doing. He's like, I'm never building a gym again.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when we popped the hood and we looked at the financial aspects and whatnot. But back to it. So we had agreed on a pretty significant consideration. We created a C Corp. I gave him equity shares, sold those equity shares based on a preconceived valuation. And then that was off of a pro forma that I said, all right, this is how long it's going to take. I thought it was going to take me a year. It's taking me over 2. This is how much it's going to cost. I thought it was this. Significantly more.
Think about plans.
And if Harry's listening, if Harry's listening to this, he's always been consistent with many things. But one of the things is like, Steve, I love you, love your energy. I'm investing in that, but it's always going to cost you more money, and it's going to take you much longer than you think. I'm like, no, I got you.
You've never heard that before.
Oh my God! And that's where his wisdom, has come from, and that's where finding the right investor, not to give you money, but I call it smart money, who's going to give you competencies, whether it's wisdom or guidance or trust or access to markets or whatever that additional component is. Because I'm running the company, I'm making the decisions. It's my vision. But you can't do it alone. And I'll say this, as an innovator, I don't have any peers. And this may piss a lot of people off, but I'm on a ledge doing something completely that hasn't done before. So, and I don't want to slow down to let people catch up.
Right.
So, that can be a little lonely and whatever. So what, boo-hoo. I've got my family, and I've got this vision, this company, and people are starting to attract, to it. Mm-hmm. But with the fundraise, he left just enough on the bone for me. When we moved here, I had just enough on the bone. I was like, I had to raise additional money. I probably pitched 20 VC firms. I probably pitched 30 banks, and I probably pitched 80 plus angel investors in a 6-month period. Relentless. Like this conversation with my PowerPoint deck 3-4 times a day. By the time that was done, nobody wanted to give me a check, even though I had a significant amount, and right? Here was the response. Steve, love your energy. We believe this is going to be great. We will write you a big check on the second one, but we're not willing to invest on the first. I mean, down the line, right?
Man.
And so I went to him and I
you
said,
had first mover's advantage, like you had all the things.
All the things, but an idea is cute on a napkin's an idea, but it's execution, right? Mm-hmm. Tangibility and proof. And so I went back to him and I said, hey man, I don't know where I'm going to get it. He goes, don't worry about it. I didn't want anyone else in the deal anyways. It's just you and me. But I needed you to learn a lesson, which was how hard it is to raise money. I was like, oh. Good lesson to learn though, right? Because it wasn't a 6-week journey. It was a 6-month just relentless pursuit with all no's, with my best efforts. I didn't care. Grind. What happened though is after I went through that process, if you would have talked to me 2 years ago, like when we first moved here in Indiana, we moved here January 1st of 2021, I would have said, this is all mine. I don't want any franchisees. I don't want to rely on building someone. This is going to be my company, my corporation, mine, right? And after that, I went, wait a second. He goes, Steve, if this is going to be a private company, you're going to spend the rest of your life, or as long as you are driving this company, you're going to be the main fundraiser. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be fundraising every quarter or every couple quarters. That's the process. I was like, oh. And so it took me about a day, and I said, no, I need to commit back to making decisions. I need to commit right here and now which direction this is going to go, because a private company versus a franchise company are vastly different organizations. And I said, no, I want to build it with other people's money. I want to bring other people in to share in this, and we will grow exponentially at the level that we want to get to. As fast as we want to go, it would be almost prohibitive to keep it private. It's just too capital intensive. And so I made a decision. We are going franchising, and from there it was a period, never a thought, and that's the way we've gone.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So, to you guys making money,
Yeah.
how does that work? Because I know the rates are very, very attractive, very
Appreciate that.
favorable for trainers. Like when you first told me, I had the same thought. Like,
And we've added some things since you and I talked.
really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. We'll go.
Make it easy.
Tim, we're going.
Yeah, you guys got some space. I'm gonna give you guys some hours to be some space.
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
let's do it. So really the core is easy. Space reservation is our key way to earn money. So our plus spaces are $22 for the hour. Our standard spaces are $16 for the hour. And our connect spaces are $5 for a 30-minute experience. Because most of those connected experiences are 7 to 22 minutes, like the live coaches or the on-demand content. So 30 minutes, you can go as long as you want, but we wanted to put it in 30-minute breaks. Plus, it was perfect for people who didn't want to work out, like they're at the co-working space. They want to pop in for an amazing row, hop in the shower, and get back to coding or whatever they do at their job.
Yeah.
That's really the core competency. But this is one of the things I realized after we opened. Talking to the trainers and the Fit Pros coming in, there's hesitancy on their current solution. So back to like CRM, where I'd worked. CRM, anytime I'd work on a CRM or change something, like in Japan, like, oh my God, the expectation was always, it's going to cost so much money, and it's going to be a pain in the ass, and we're going to lose revenue. It's going to be a big problem. There's a lot of fear and anxiety about going from the solution we know is not great to the one we pretty much understand is going to be much better, but there's a lot of dread and fear and hesitancy in the process. Well, that's what trainers are experiencing when they come into FlexWerk. They're going, yeah, I don't want to drive all over the place and go to these customers' houses anymore. Yeah, I don't want to sneak in and out of these gyms trying to avoid the GM. Yeah, I don't want to train under the table, or I don't want to work out that garage, or I don't want to work. But how am I going to move my clients? But what's it going to take to build a company or a website, or who's going to do my marketing, or what do I charge, or how do I get a polo? I mean, Some things you would think are simple, but no, they're real challenges and issues. So I started to say, well, what do you need? Again, back to my day one. What do you need? Mm-hmm. And I just listened. They're like, well, I need help with this. I was like, well, cool. We can do that. I just spent tens of thousands of dollars building my own brand. So I have these relationships and these platforms that I'll just have you tie into. You don't have to do all the startups and pennies on the dollar. But what I want in return is for you to come into the space.
Right.
Don't wait for perfect. Good enough is good. That's a lot of feedback I give. A lot of these guys are like overweight clients. I want to be in shape. You ever heard this? I want to be in shape before I start training with you, Colin. Right? What?
No.
Trainers.
Right.
I want to be ready before I start coming to FlexWerk. For what?
Yeah.
Brush your teeth, comb your hair, bring your 1 or 2 clients you already have. That's good enough. Get a start. Mm-hmm. Film some content. Tag us. We're going to post you. You're going to get tons of eyeballs. And guess what? DMs are a-coming. And surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Right? And then let me give you a freebie. Get off of Gmail. Number one thing you can do in this market right now to distinguish yourself, get off of Gmail. Do you own your own URL? Yeah. Add a $5 email to it, and immediately you're boom. Yep. 90% of the trainers in this market are on Gmail. Little things that don't cost money, they're like, oh, cool. And we talk to them like adults. We're not talking down, oh, you don't know that? Okay, come on. It's because I just want you to make a decision so you can take action. Mm-hmm. So it's space reservation. But now I found that there are services that are in high demand and high need that we've aggregated that we can charge for. at a fraction of the cost it would cost you. Like we spun someone's website up in a day and a half. It's amazing. Cost her $500.
Wow.
And she had a quote for like $2,000, and right, it was going to take like 10 weeks. And what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right? We can do brand design. We have 3 things called web solutions. It's in a pyramid, and so it's like brand design. Do you have a logo? Do you have Pantones? Your font? Like just basics. Cool. We can do all that. Pretty easy, pretty inexpensively, because before you do a website, you kind of need those things to fill in the content.
Sure.
Then the other one is social media. I mean, you can turn on your own social media. We're not going to charge you for that, and we're not going to manage your social media, right? We're not a marketing agency, but what we'll do is we can create banners, we can create templates, we can make sure your Pantones and everything, it's clean and consistent across your brand.
Yep.
And then the third is access to my videographer. And if you've gone onto our Instagram, and I think we're doing a pretty bang out job. Thank you.
Nice, yeah.
Well,
it's consistent too.
Yeah, and we're providing high level professional services. We'll give you access to our same videography team that we have for $750 for a 90-minute shoot, which is all you need.
Yeah.
Not $3,000. So we knew that we had those services that we can provide, and we're not shoving them down the road. We're just like it's there, and we can do it fast. Yeah. Plus, we're going to be able to tell your story, unlike a lot of marketing agencies who have no idea what they're talking about, because their next client's a coffee shop, and then a flower shop, and then this and then that.
Right.
And then the other one is we've actually created. We're big on we don't have memberships, right? Everyone's a guest, but we've created an opportunity for individual guests. Back to our question a little while ago. Can I just come in and work out? Yeah. There's been enough people now who've come in. Like there were some firemen running by today. What's up, Carmel Fire? They were running by and they're like, oh, this is great, and we'd love to get out of the firehouse, and someone wanted to do like a group workout. We got you. We're going to get a coach who'd probably want to love to do that for you guys. But some are like, I just want to get away from the guys. I want to private workout.
Yeah.
So if it's just one person by themselves, we've got some of those people, 16 per hour. If I'm a high frequency user, that can be spicy, right? That can get up to $300+ and whatnot. So I thought, why don't I create a limited number, like 100 roughly, where you can have access to a standard space for $69 a month, 3 times a week, which is higher than the average frequency of most users. That's like $4.89 a workout.
Yeah.
It doesn't move into my plus spaces, which are mostly what the trainers and coaches want to use for their clientele. If that was the model, though, it wouldn't be viable, right? But I saw a gap, and then we're starting to fill a need. Mm-hmm. And then if you want 5 times a week, it's $119. Yeah. I mean, if you're like ultra high frequency,
still crazy good pricing. Yeah.
Right. So we're also part of ASH, so American Specialty Health, which is one of the largest fitness subsidizers in the country. Their headquarters is here in Carmel, of all places, which is great. But they subsidize anyone who is a member of them, and you just have to go to ash.com or check your HR person. But they subsidize 80% of any offering that we have.
Wow.
So, I mean, that could be $11.
Yeah.
Right? And they pay us full boat and give you access. So that's it. So space reservation, business support tools, and then we have one new vertical. And so one of the other things that coaches wanted, that when I was asking them, what do you want? Like, man, we need more clients. Number one thing, right? We need more clients. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. Well, Gym Launch, you guys remember Gym Launch?
Right.
I was from Rosa.
Yep.
So they've been wanting to work with Cole, and they've been wanting to work with us for a while. They're like, dude, you're doing something that's really innovative. Like, we're partnering with NASM. We're trying to do something that's different and unique, and giving fitness professionals a real viable opportunity to have careers. So NASM and all these people are going, oh yeah, this could be a good thing. What do you need? And well, with Gym Launch, it was like, well, I'm not going to hire trainers, so I don't know how that would work. I don't know, cool, but I just don't know how that would. And then it was June 6th we launched it, so maybe it was like June 2nd. I was, I don't know, shower, whatever, playing pickleball, who knows? Get my moments of inspiration, smash someone, And I was like, wait a second. Again, the number one need for these fit pros coming in are saying they need more clients. I don't want to go over the line and be their daddy, right? And hand them, like, they need to be their own boss. But I also want to expedite them taking action. What can I do? So I called them up, started talking to the team at Gym Watch, and I was like, man, what if I created a lead funnel, came to me, we did the PAR-Q, we did all the lead nurturing, and we had real high intensity, like clientele, 6-week challengers, something like that, right? 3 times a week frequency, like real high intenders, not I'm coming for a free workout to try and kick the tires like your typical like gym membership, right? And we weed them out, I PAR-Q them, we qualify them, I sell them, I take a fee, and then I hand them off to a trainer with the remainder directly between them.
Yeah.
They're like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. So essentially, I said, all right, I'll pay for the whole system. Because I mean, I don't know if you know, but it's spicy to start working with them, right? Huge fees. Again, another company who believes in what we're doing, that's coming together in an ecosystem that says, this is unique. We've never had a use case like this in all the gyms that we've done. You're literally taking them and handing people paid clients. And I don't have to worry about 1099s because, again, I'm taking a fee for my services. I'm covering my acquisition costs. And then I'm giving you, as a trainer, that's already pre-qualified. So I'm pre-qualifying to make sure that the client gets the right Fit Pro versus the Fit Pro gets access to the client. Sure. So the client's not getting all beat up by 10 and 15 people calling him up and, hey, how are you? Right? If you want a male or female, the right aptitude, I know who you are. And it's a small group right now because people are like, how do I do that? Well, you just got to be in FlexWerk. You just got to be the space. We just got to know about you. There's no real other qualification process. If you're already reserving space and we see you and there's some sort of relationship, then I'm starting to have trust in your skill sets. I just say, if you're waving your hand down the field and you're saying, hey, throw me the ball, you're a target. No. If you're on the sidelines with your arms folded, I'm not even paying attention to you, right? I mean, this isn't high-level business acumen, right? And so I'm just like, make yourself a target, because people are coming in, and we started on June 6th, and we had 11 clients start last month, kind of fumbling through it, and this month I think we'll have 22. But these are a 3-time-a-week frequency, 6-week challenge, 16-session client that at the end of it, as you burn through those sessions, I don't take a fee. I step out of the way, and you can re-sign them at a lower rate probably, still getting a high-frequency client. You keep it all. You just keep doing the space reservation. Yep. So I'm help filling more and more space reservation.
Love it.
So that's a pretty interesting revenue opportunity. Yeah. And we're going to keep going with it.
100%.
So 100%. That's how we make, and we sell some caffeine and a little bit of water, but that's it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the company is built to be a franchise company. Sell franchises, support franchises, royalties. Those 3 buckets are really what FlexWerk in the very, very near future is really going to be focused on. But as far as a franchisee and an individual location or a group of locations, that's what it is.
Fantastic.
And we reduced the number one cost on the P&L, which is labor, on average from 60% on your P&L line down to about 18%. And the hosts are still making very good money. Yeah. They're just not having to deal with all the nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully that answered that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
All right. Tim, any things you want to make sure you ask Steve? I know we've been rolling pretty good here.
I think I'm good on my end. I think I asked what I wanted to.
Cool. Yeah. Steve, I wanted to touch a little bit on sales. I told you we always have last question that we finish with. I want to make sure you say anything else that we haven't discussed, but I want to touch on sales. You said that was one of the biggest problems you saw within the industry. People could do the job, but they couldn't sell. What were some of the biggest sales components you used? Maybe it was a phrase or technique that you used to get, you said 32, 34 spots in 30 days, which is astronomical. What did you do then, and what things have stayed consistent through today?
Well, that could be a whole podcast. But if we went back to the script,
what are you doing next
doubt.
Friday?
Let's do it. Yeah. I doubt it's possible that I said that they couldn't sell. Can't is it's just kind of a.
Or they weren't.
It's a word in my mouth that usually doesn't come out.
Yeah.
But I think they're not willing to. Is more of an accurate.
Fair
observation that I've had in my experience. And again, general terms, I haven't met every trainer and coach in the world, but from the tens of thousands that I've worked with or met, you get a pretty good sampling. It's willingness.
Yeah.
Back to it, willingness and capability. There's a barrier of, there are two trainers and coach fitness professionals, the scientists and the killers. The scientists are the vast majority. They go through school, they get their certs, they're highly educated, they can deliver great programming, but they have a hookup about, I don't like sales, I don't want to do sales, I just want to help people. These are the common stories they tell themselves, and that comes out of their mouths, and then that feeds into how they interact, right? And then there's the killers. I think I was one of, it's just, I saw that my time was valuable. I wanted to make as much money as possible. And I believed that if someone spent an hour with me in the gym, they were going to have a good time. I was going to pay attention to them. And we're going to do some workouts that would probably do something positive in their lives. But we all have to be real. That's not most of your clients. Most clients are just getting away from their husbands or their wives or their overbearing boss, right? They're looking for something positive to do instead of going to a bar. I didn't care. I just knew that if I had you in front of me, I was going to give you the time and respect. I knew it was half theater, half science. And I was better at the theater than the science most of the time, even though I was pretty good. So for me, it's willingness. And then it just attached to, what do you want? What do you want to do? People can do almost anything, and I believe that they want to do. There's plenty of resources, and there's plenty of things that they can become educated on. They can get help. People can be surrounded by experts or whatever you want to do it. But amazing things can happen when you just step out there and say, I'm willing to do it. It just changes everything, right? I'm willing to step on the mat and see what that's all about.
Yeah.
Right? I'm willing to realize I didn't die when I got choked out for the first time. Right?
Yeah.
And so sales for me was just, I think the key has always been keep it simple. Keep it simple. When I got an original sales script, that's what it was. It was a sales script. I thought, man, I think I was able to put myself in the consumer's shoes. I went, do I want to be talked at like this? Talked at, right? Not with.
Got it. Yeah.
At.
Yeah.
And does this feel genuine? And what am I gonna sound like? And I just started cutting things away. That was the prezo. I was like, if you can just ask 7 questions. First off, if I can just ask you, well, beyond your basic name, right? Like, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? What's your body fat? I think that's important. What size clothes do you wear? Are you taking any medications that would cause you to not be able to operate a car or exercise strenuously? Are you currently dealing with any injuries? What do you do for a living? And then what's your experience with fitness and training? Those 7 questions will give me all the data I need to sell you anything.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The challenge is we go way overboard and too much, and I want to try and impress you with all these terms that nobody cares about anyways, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then, right? So, and the other part too is stay focused. The prezo for me was always about, it's like going into a doctor's office. When you go into a doctor's office, they don't tell you a story. Not the ones I know, but they do. I need to look in your nose, check your ear, tap your knee, whatever. They're gathering data and creating a baseline. And then from there, they go, great. What are the challenges? What's hurt? What's right? How do you want to feel better? Your goals. Well, the goals and the baseline should be exactly the same. Don't talk about goals that are totally opposite or outside of the baseline.
Sure.
Well, what's the difference between the goals and the baseline? The programming. That's the training. But most people want to get in the sexy stuff.
Yeah.
I want to talk about goals and that. So being able to help trainers and coaches control the cadence, I think, was the most important thing. Ask 7 simple things, role play it. Asking how you ask it is important, right? You're going to get a lot of data. You're going to create trust, just like you did. People are going to say yes a lot. Well, psychologically, that's important in a sale, right? By the time you're done with the prezo that I teach, you're saying yes like 23 times. It is very difficult to say no after that.
Yeah. You're primed.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. But it's genuine. It's not, slimy or whatever else it is. And as a Fit Pro, I'm thinking these are things I should ask anyways. It's on a basic NASM PAR-Q or whatever else. It's what I've been taught, and I'm not having to overcomplicate it. And then I find out, and then now it's easy because based on who you are and what you want to get to, that's an easy piece of math. If it's 20 pounds and you work with me twice a week, and on average you lose 0.75 pounds of body fat per week, I can do the math and say, theoretically, it's 32 weeks or whatever the math works out to, and that's 32 times 2, that's 64 sessions. I charge you $50. Boom.
Yep.
Then the last part is have the courage to present the solution. do the work, create the baseline, be concise on the goals, make sure it's clear that they're related, bring the consumer along with the journey. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Do you have any questions? Not at the end after you've presented money, which now it gets weird. It's along the way. Have you kept it clean? Does it make sense on how long it's going to take you, how many sessions it needs to get there, and what it's going to take financially? Yeah? Well, this is your total solution. That, to me, was the revolution because, anyone who goes to college or something like that, right? They don't tell you just pay as you go. You meet someone, they say it's going to be 4 years or whatever it's going to be, and here's how many units and credits, and yeah, you're not going to spend $200,000 or whatever it is it's going to cost you. Mm-hmm. You got to figure that out, but this is what the plan overall is going to take you. So work back your solution.
Yeah, love it.
And so when you ask, surprisingly, some people say, I'll do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But if you never ask, but sales to me is, again, just have the courage, be confident in what you're providing. You're providing truth and a real solution that aligns with someone. Plus, it's very personalized versus some in-the-box kind of thing they've heard cookie cutter all the time.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Tim and I both love sales. We've done cold sales and, door to door, the hard sales. So it's
That's rough.
I think the art of communication is very fascinating. It's fun to learn, how you can say something, what you can say. One little word can make all the difference. So
phrasing, energy.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that'll help a lot of trainers too, who maybe I'm not the best at sales yet. What can I do? 7 questions.
You don't have to be the best at sales.
Yeah.
You just have the courage to present a solution that you believe is actually going to work for that individual.
Yeah.
And then just ask.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the best at sales.
Yeah.
In fact, the best people at sales are usually the arrogant ones that don't have long careers anyways, right?
Love it.
I can't tell you how many people have said, throughout my career when I was hiring people, and I'm an amazing salesperson. I'm like, you sell gym memberships. Not to bring you down. I'm here to lift you up. But
Sure.
71% of the people who walk into a gym are intending to buy. So guess what,
Hot
bro?
leads.
Guess what? Awesome. Let's not get too arrogant, though.
Yeah.
Okay? Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Keep it in perspective.
Yeah. Steve, as we're kind of winding down here, anything we haven't touched on that you really want to make sure we hit before we wrap up today?
I mean, obviously, I want eyeballs, and so I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course.
Your guys' audience looks amazing, and it's a lot of fun being still relatively new to the indie market. I want people to know that this is an indie-first company. This isn't an LA transplant company. We moved here specifically to plant the flag. This is going to be our HQ for the foreseeable 10, 12, 15 years. Brought my family. Our HQ is here. Our proof of concept is here. We're going to be franchising here first. This will be the first market we develop. So come check us out. Anyone could be our guest. We'd love to give you, obviously a free hour. Come through for any of your guests who are on this podcast. All they have to do is download our app on the App Store at FlexWerk. You can check out our Instagram at FlexWerk Fiitness. And if you can't get what we're doing or see what's happening, fine. Pick up the phone. Our hosts are here to help. The pricing is transparent. What we do is what we do. You don't buy anything from them, so you don't have really anything to lose. But I also encourage, trainers, coaches, fitness professionals, if anything's resonated, I think, on this call and this podcast, which has been great, that says, hey, this sounds like something I'm going through or I'm struggling with, or, man, this is exactly what I was thinking about or I wanted to do, or somewhere close, it's for real. And our intentions are to meet you where you're at, whether you have one client or you have 100, whether you're an in-person trainer, small group, or digital only. Give us a call. Come check us out. I'd love to meet with you personally, but my hosts are way more than capable of taking you through the same processes. And you can decide for yourself within just a few minutes of your experience.
Beautiful. Yeah. Can attest. All right. We always love to ask how you want to be remembered when it's all said and done. Steve, how do you want people to remember Steve Pirt?
Oh, man. I don't know. That's a unique question. I love it. I don't know if that's an important thing for me.
Okay.
I honestly don't. I have to think about it. It didn't catch me. Yeah, it caught me a little off guard. I don't know if I want to be. I certainly want to imbue knowledge and legacy in my children. Certainly, if I go first, my wife. I want to remember that I gave her all I could, and that we had an adventurous life, to say the least, full of love and adventure. But as far as, like, my why is not to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of only maybe 3 or 4 podcasts that I've said yes to, because I really have wanted to be in the shadows. This brand is not about me. This brand is about my customers. It's about your brand. It's about, right? It's about making money, and we do that by putting enough people into the spaces and have them be successful, just like franchises. All right. Maybe that I dare to do it my way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, I don't know if that's important, because when I'm gone, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that answer.
Love that.
Yeah, I like
But
that.
you did dare to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you have your priorities straight too. Like the people that matter in your life, that's who you want to remember you.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Right. And I'm, not everyone's going to love me along the way, right? We play pickleball, and I'm an intense guy. I do what I do, and a lot of times I'm just super focused and have blinders on, and I need to slow down and pay attention and develop maybe some relationships along the way. But some of those things don't matter to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I heard once long ago, you're going to piss people off if you want to get shit done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel, I piss most people off, not because of it's just because I go too fast, and people, you're making me look bad. You're slowing down, right? And
that's not your problem. That is not Steve's.
Well, in my career it was, because those are the people who controlled my raises or my promotions, or right, and then I didn't go to the barbecues or the basketball games, or I didn't say the right thing in the meeting. I asked the question that made them challenge them or give us real information. Yeah. And it wasn't to be a jerk. It was just kind of like, hey,
you're an innovator.
Well, I know at the time, but I was just curious. And then the customers I knew needed better. But good question, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. All right, Steve. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it. A lot of value. Listeners are going to love it. We had a good time as always. So thanks for your time. We appreciate it, man.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for listening. Until next time, we are out of here.